My name's Kayla. I just recently had an assignment in my college English class on a persuasive essay. So I chose to do my persuasive essay on how metal music needs to be more accepted in society. A lot of people in society see heavy metal music as like violent, satanic, um, angry, and they say it has a bad influence on the listener. Sometimes that's true, but in most cases that's not true. Society needs to stop being so closed-minded and just accept people's different tastes in music. I'm what you call a metalhead. In my definition, a metalhead is just someone who's very, very passionate about heavy metal music. Like, I think there's a difference between a metalhead and a metal listener. Just because you listen to a couple songs by Metallica doesn't mean you're a metalhead. Liking something and having a passion for something are different. Like, us metalheads, we talk about it a lot. Like, that's a daily thing for us. We're always listening to metal. We're always, like, we like to talk about it. We like to have our metalhead friends who we like to talk to about it and just talk about what we're listening to or how we're in a good mood and we're listening to a good song. I'm rambling. But, we're really supportive of the bands we like. Like, for instance, Slayer. Even though they lost, like, half their band this year, I'm still really supportive of them because I love Slayer, and I still have faith that they can do good even without Dave and Jeff. Maybe not as great as they were before, but I think I'll still like them. We're always like going to concert and keeping up with the latest news, even if it's a band I don't listen to. Like for instance, Suicide Silence with Mitch. I don't listen to them personally, but I respect the band. And when I heard about Mitch dying, I definitely looked into that. Like, it's awful to lose someone in the metal world. Like, it's awful to lose someone, period. It just takes a toll on us metalheads, too. Like, we care a lot when someone dies. Someone, especially someone who's, like, in one of those bands that really, really love, and, like, we kind of idolize that person. Like, Jeff from Slayer, yeah, that was not a good day. Metal has a lot of subgenres. Most common would be like metalcore, deathcore, heavy metal, thrash metal, groove metal, death metal, progressive death metal, melodic death metal, folk metal, and black metal. Metalcore is pretty much like it's one that's most played on the radio. It's like half screaming, half vocals, fast guitar, fast drums. Like progressive death metal is kind of like the band Opeth. Like, I think of them as progressive death metal because their songs progress. Like, they start out kind of soft and stuff, and then they progress and get really, really heavy. Like in their song The Drapery Falls. Black metal is like the kind of metal where you see a lot of, like, the people in the bands are wearing, like black and white on their face, like corpse paint. That's what black metal is. I don't personally listen to it, but that doesn't mean I won't get into it. I got into metal in my teens. I grew up listening to like country and pop, and then I got into Avenged Sevenfold and Girlfriend of Valentine because they were kind of popular. One of my friends showed me the band All That Remains, and I got into more of that stuff because it was like heavy and I just liked it. They do some screaming and vocals and it sounded good to me. So then my friend's like, oh, I'll show you more bands then. So she showed me like bands from the 80s and 90s era, like Megadeth, Machine Head, Pantera, and all them. And once I heard them, like especially with Machine Head, I heard their song Locust and I just fell in love. I love that kind of music. Like, I like the guitar, I love the drums, I love the vocals. Like, I just love the heavy feel. People say it's angry, violent music. Sometimes, yes, the screams are showing anger, but they also express like power and just like a heavy feel. It's called heavy metal for a reason. It's not soft. They don't sing about love and relationships and boys and girls and fucking flowers. They don't sing about that because that's not metal. I like to listen to it when I'm mad, but just because I listen to it all the time doesn't mean I'm a mad person. It's also a good way to vent when you're mad. Like, people have their different ways of venting, like they write, or they talk to their friends, or they sing, or they do something. I listen to music. It helps. It helps hearing some sort of something that sounds really powerful. I have a couple pictures. This is Amon Amarth. and they sing about Norse mythology and ancient gods. This is Dying Fetus. They sing about government corruption. And this is Winter Sun. They sing about winter, space, and time. And people think all metal is satanic and emo. I think that's a mainstream opinion, and people need to stop following those opinions and make their own opinions for themselves. So there's good and bad for everything. It just goes along with what your taste in that stuff is. And it's just not respectful to bash someone else's opinions. Everyone dresses how they choose. People shouldn't get disrespected because of that. Unfortunately, metalheads get looked down upon because of the way we dress. In 2007, a United Kingdom girl named Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend were walking in the park. The two both wore gothic clothing. A couple drunk teen boys saw and attacked the couple. They beat up the male first, knocking him out. Sophie then cradled his head in her lap and tried to protect him, and the boys, they attacked her, and they started kicking her and stomping her in the face, enough to where she had an imprint on her face of the guy's shoe. And then they went and bragged to their friends about it. We've just beaten someone up, and there's two moshers nearly dead in Baku Park. You want to see them? They're a right mess. A 14-year-old girl witnessed the attack and called the authorities. The couple was taken to the hospital. Both were in comas. The male survived, but Sophie died 13 days later. The attack was simply because they were dressed in a Gothic style. The Gothic style they chose to dress in probably had something to do with their music taste. Because I know a lot of people who listen to black metal kind of dress in a Gothic style. It's fine. They can dress the way they choose. They shouldn't be looked down upon and disrespected because of that. The prosecutor said it would appear that Mr. Maltby and Miss Lancaster were singled out, not for anything they had said or done, but because they dressed differently to the defendant and his friends. Sophie's stepmother, Sylvia, makes a statement. I hope, therefore, that as a society we can use what has happened to reflect on where we are going and what changes we need to make to prevent others from suffering this way. Murdering someone because of the way they look or dress is wrong. Everyone likes to express themselves in the way they dress, and we all shouldn't have to worry about getting judged or discriminated against because of that. Metalheads get hateful comments directed at them for their music taste. Here's an example. Yahoo Answers. I found this. This guy's like, why do people like heavy metal music? For starters, the musicians have no vocal talent whatsoever, and the lyrics are just stupid most of the time. The guy is screaming down the microphone in such a way that I can barely understand what he is saying. The imagery is just plain disgusting and weird. Before all you lonely metalheads with no friends or social life get mad at me, actually listen to the lyrics. If you want to hear about Satan, vampires, and other occultist fucked up stuff, be my guest. And then at the end, he's like, hip-hop. Okay, first of all, I would rather be a lonely metalhead than be friends with this guy. In most cases, we don't even want a lot of friends. And most of the time, I don't like to talk to anyone who we don't have anything in common. I want a friend who has something in common with me. And metal is a big part in that. So most of my friends are on Facebook, because that's the only place I can really find a metalhead friend. By saying that the music shows that we worship Satan is like saying that the director of a bloody gore horror movie worships serial killers. This is another picture. It's from Westboro Baptist Church. Heavy metal musicians all go to hell. God hates heavy metal. In Moscow, a news article claims that most heavy metal songs are about murder and suicide. Forensic psychiatry professor Fyodor something, Russian, having discovered 700 most popular heavy metal songs, revealed that half of them is about murder, 7% positive about suicide, 35% preaches a variety of satanist ideologies. Just because a song has lyrics about murder doesn't mean it's satanic. I've also heard the comment that the music sounds satanic and evil. So, if a kid sounds stupid because he has a speech impediment, does that mean he is stupid? No. Metalheads often get called Satanist, Devil's Child, etc. Someone I know got the comment about how the music causes people to go out on killing sprees and ruins children's innocence. Another fellow metalhead said when a father saw him in his metal band shirt, he told his daughter that that guy was probably a murderer. Those comments are really rude. I don't want to be called a murderer because of the way I look and the music I listen to. You're also shoving your beliefs down our throat by calling us a Satanist. You're assuming that just because some bands do songs about it means that everyone who listens to the genre as a whole is. That's just like saying anyone who listens to Bob Marley is a stoner, or someone who listens to country is a hillbilly. You don't like those stereotypes, so stop stereotyping us. Yes, in America we have freedom of speech, but that also comes with respect. A lot of heavy metal music is anti-religious because it's easy to write about. Being anti-religious is not the same thing as being satanic. Slayer is a thrash metal band that uses religion in the lyrics, but there's a hidden meaning as to why the band does that. Kerry King, the guitarist of Slayer, says, "I like to take hot shots at religion because I think it's the biggest brainwashing thing that's totally acceptable in America." He doesn't bash on religion because he's a Satanist, and I agree with him. I think people now stop thinking for themselves and stop following their own morals, and they start to live in the rules of a religion. Like the religion tells them what to do. They don't make their own morals. They just go by the morals of that religion. And I'm not saying anything bad about anyone's religion. That's just my own belief. That's what I think. I'm not trying to piss you guys off by saying that. Slayer also has an album called God Hates Us All. Tom Araya, the bassist and vocalist of Slayer, states, "God doesn't hate, it's just a great fucking title." They decided on the title just because they liked it. It sounded good. It made sense for them. The band members aren't satanic just because the music and lyrics sound like they are. Tom Araya states his beliefs. Regardless of whatever fucking religion you believe in, whatever you feel is right, everybody knows what's wrong. Everybody knows there's wrong things. There are things you just do not do. And people just don't understand that or don't believe that, aren't connected with themselves spiritually. It doesn't matter what the fuck you believe. I agree with him. He's saying that people know it's wrong to murder. It doesn't matter what religion you are, you just know that's wrong. You should know that that's a bad thing to do. So a song may be about killing, but the listener should know very well that the song isn't something that's okay to go out and do. It's just a song. It's just to create imagery. Children, on the other hand, kind of have to be taught what's right and wrong. I'm going to raise my kids on metal. But I'm going to tell them, look, what the song is singing about isn't right. It's just good music. Killing someone isn't right. Murdering someone isn't right. You make your own choice to go and kill someone. The music and the media doesn't tell you to go out and kill someone, in my opinion. Chuck, I can't really pronounce his last name, but the vocalist and founder of the death metal band called Death, he states that he believes that this is hell, and that demons are inside of people which create evil. When asked if Satanism plays a role in the music, Chuck explains, "Not at all. I really don't want to involve any type of religious theme in our music. I think that's more of a personal thing. Yeah, I'm not a Satanist, and I definitely don't put that into our music on purpose. I was really young when the band first started out. I was never really into writing satanic lyrics at all, personally. We did write gore lyrics, but it was more of a tongue-in-cheek horror movie type level. Nothing like encouraging people to go out and hurt themselves or anything stupid like that. It's pure fantasy movie type stuff, scary stuff. And then I just really got into writing about reality, which is what we all had to deal with." The band name is also controversial because it's Death. Chuck speaks in an interview about the name of the band. "I wanted a name to describe the music, an extreme name for an extreme music, and that it's just a name to me. I think people look at you a certain way, and it's something I had to explain to people about so they don't realize I'm not satanic because I'm in a band called Death. It just wouldn't work having a band called Pink Flowers. Music it's not to promote bad things. It's just music. It's just creating imagery." Ronnie James Dio was a vocalist for the band Dio, and he was also a vocalist for the band Black Sabbath. He was also the man who popularized the use of the horns. The horns are used a lot by metalheads, and the horns can be misjudged. People think they mean the devil's horns. I can see where you get that, but In all reality, we don't throw them up because we're symbolizing the devil. We throw them up because, as Ronnie James Dio says, it pretty much means long live rock and roll, long live metal. I also love this guy. I love metalheads. When I mention metal, people go crazy because you just have to give it up. You don't see a guy with his shirt off screaming R&B. Metalheads are different from any other fan of music. We have our own symbol that means metal. You just do that to another metalhead, and he's just like, indeed. He also spoke up about what he believes. My belief is that heaven and hell is right here. This is where we are. This is heaven. This is hell. You make your own heaven. You make your own hell. Hell, good and evil, God, the devil reside in each one of us. So that doesn't sound satanic, does it? That sounds like he has his own beliefs. So do you still want to argue that all metal music is satanic? Music is also more diverse in the lyrics. Most pop and hip-hop artists sing about a lot of the same stuff, like partying, drugs, sex, relationships, etc. It's rare to find a metal band that sings primarily on those topics. I learned a lot of new words from listening to the music I do, and the lyrics are very well written. They use words that you wouldn't use in your everyday vocabulary. This is some lyrics I know from a metal song called Heartwork by a death metal band called Carcass. Profound aesthetic beauty or shaded sensory corruption. Perceptions, shattered, splintered, mirroring, in deft taints, diluted, tinted, spelt out, in impaired color. Denigrating, going to paints to pain. Not a pretty picture. So, as you can tell, that wasn't super easy to read out. They used a lot of words that you would have to kind of look up to know what they mean. I also have a lot of the song titles that also explain why the music is deeper and has very good vocabulary in it. Like The Last Stand of Rage by Amon Amarth, Embrace the Endless Ocean by Amon Amarth, Guardians of Asgard, Amon Amarth, Ride the Void by Holy Grail, Flight of Icarus, I don't know how to pronounce that, Iron Maiden, Blackened of the Cursed Sun, Lamb of God, Aesthetics of Hate, Machine Head, Deafening Silence, Machine Head, Clenching the Fist of Dissent, Machine Head, Symphony of Destruction, Megadeth, Foreclosure of a Dream, Megadeth, Heresy, Pantera, Pull Harder on the Strings of Your Martyr by Trivium, A Gunshot to the Head of Trepidation, Trivium, Contempt Breeds Contamination, Trivium, Pillars of Serpents, Trivium, Blinding Tears Will Break Through the Skies, by Trivium, Like a Castillo to a Star in Heaven, Trivium, of Prometheus and the Crucifix, Trivium. So I hope you can tell that these songs are very diverse in lyrics. The other day I was watching a video from a band called Children of Bodom, and the song is called Transference. I wanted to know what the video meant, so I looked up the word transference, and I found out it means a phenomenon where feelings are unconsciously redirected from one person to another. I got more interested in Vikings and Norse culture because of listening to Amon Amarth. Once I started listening to them, I'm like, I wonder what Asgard is. Looked it up, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. There's a power metal band called Sabaton, and they do songs about historical wars. I would rather have my kids listening to stuff like that than stuff like Nicki Minaj, like You a Stupid Hoe. I don't want my kids growing up into that culture. No offense to people who are into that culture, I would just rather have my kids listen to metal. I think it's more deep and more knowledgeable. People say they don't like metal because they can't understand the lyrics. However, metalheads like that because just like how people like the song Gangnam Style. The song has a good beat and it's catchy, even without understanding the lyrics. I also think that metal music uses more talent than other genres. In metal, the band needs a good vocalist, a good guitarist, a good drummer, and a good writer. In one of the bands I love, Trivium, the lead vocalist can play solos on guitar while either screaming or singing clean vocals, and I think that's true talent. I think metal bands care more about their performance than the money. I think mainstream pop artists care more about the money and being famous than their performance. That explains why they sing what the producer tells them to sing, because what that song is about is popular at that moment. It just shows that they care more about the fame and fortune than the music itself. Here are some lyrics from a song called Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen. Your stare was holding, ripped jeans, skin was showing, hot night, wind was blowing, where you think you're going, baby? Hey, I just met you. This is crazy. But here's my number, so call me maybe. It's hard to look right at your baby, but here's my number, so call me maybe. And now compare those simple lyrics to a song called Cemetery Gates by Pantera. All those complex years, I thought I was alone. I didn't care to look around and make this world my own. And when she died, I should have cried and spared myself some pain. Left me incomplete, all alone, as the memories still remain. The way we were, the chance to save my soul, and my concern is now in vain. Believe the word, I will unlock my door and pass the cemetery gates. It took 3 people to write Call Me Maybe. It took one person, Bill Anselmo, the vocalist of Pantera, to write that song. He wrote the song about a friend who had passed away, and it affected him and his group of friends. As you can see, Cemetery Gates is a more complicated song, and it only took one person to write it. And it also has a deep and sincere meaning behind it. Call Me Maybe took 3 people to write it. It's a very simple song. And the only meaning behind it is pretty much, hey, you're cute, here's my number. There's a 2007 news article where a woman, Kitty Empire, discusses a study done by Stuart Cadwallader of Warwick University, who determined that 1/3 of his survey rated metal as their favorite genre. This article is called Clever Kids Headbang. Kitty writes in the article, metal isn't what people think it is. First of all, much of it is complex, multi-layered, mind-blowing musicianship. Second, the lyrical themes running the gambit of literature, history, art, and human emotion. Metal speaks to intelligent people on many subjects and themes. Metal connects with the very aspects of the world clever people find most fascinating. She also states that metalhead kids and open-minded kids are one and the same. I think that is very true. I think being open-minded is what got us to listen to metal in the first place, and open-minded to find new music, find new genres that we like. I think a lot of pop artists sound worse live than on album. However, metal bands sound better than their albums in most cases. They write their own songs and they put their voice into the song. They really love what they do. You can tell they do because even though they aren't on the radio, they still make music. The band still flourish without the need of limelight. Like Pantera's 1994 album, Far Beyond Driven, it made Billboard's #1 album without any commercial or advertising sponsorship. It's not easy to play guitar. It's not easy to growl and scream. So they had to put a lot more practice than pop artists need to do into their music. So they practice the same songs over and over, and that just shows they love what they do. They're not doing it for the money. Metal is just music. It's what makes us happy. Just like you have something that makes you happy, we have something that makes us happy. I've made a lot of great friends because of metal. And these friends talk to me about more than just metal. Like, I know when I get upset, my metalhead friends are the ones who are always there for me. And, it's like a brotherhood. We're there for each other more than normal friends, in my opinion. But society never gets to see what a true metalhead is because they're always bashing us. They're always making us look like we're bad people, when really we're not. If you get the chance to see us and get to know us, you realize we're not bad people. Most of the people I talk to are very open-minded and nice. I'm an admin of a page on Facebook called Metal for Life, and I conducted a survey of all the metalheads on that page. More than half the metalheads said they listen to several different metal genres. That just shows that they're more open-minded. Metalheads, we're just passionate about our music. That doesn't make us bad people. We just have a different taste in music than you. You don't want people bashing something you love, so don't do that to us. And this is one picture. It says metalheads. You can't really read it, but it says what Christians think we do, which is burn churches. Thanks, Mark. What the government thinks I do, the Columbine massacre. What society thinks I do, / Slayer into my wrist. You see that? I don't cut. Idiots think I do, worship Satan. What I think I do, crowd surf. What I really do, sit in the car and headbang. That's what we do. We're not bad people just because of the music we listen to. Because it's not nice and it's not respectful to bash someone else's opinions. And I wish society would be more respectful towards our taste in music. So thanks for watching my video. I'm sorry it was really long, but my essay was really long. So thank you. Bye.